Most people waste their lives looking at others, comparing their success, their wealth, their power, measuring themselves against someone else's path. And because of that, they never win. They spend their days watching, envying, resenting, never realizing that every second spent looking at someone else is a second stolen from their own progress. They weaken themselves by giving power to others. Comparison is a trap. It blinds you to your own growth. It makes you bitter when you should be focused. It makes you jealous when you should be working. It makes you weak when you should be getting stronger. But here's the truth. You don't have their life. You don't have their path. You weren't meant to follow their footsteps, match their timeline, or chase their version of success. You have your own. And until you understand that, you will always be behind. Because while you're looking at them, they're not looking at you. They're moving. They're building. They're winning. You want to be free. You want to win. Then stop watching them and start working on yourself. Because the only person you should ever compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. Step 1. Comparison is a trap. Weak people measure their worth against others. They look at someone ahead of them and feel small. They look at someone behind them and feel superior. And in both cases, they lose. A man who wastes time comparing is a man who is standing still. He is not moving forward. He is just watching those ahead of him, resenting their progress, watching those behind him, feeling safe in his position. But what he fails to realize is that none of that matters. Winners think differently. They don't waste time comparing. If someone is ahead of you, learn from them. Don't resent them. Most people look at someone more successful and feel jealousy. They tell themselves that person had an advantage, got lucky, had things easier. But bitterness never built a strong man. A weak man envies another's success. A strong man studies it. A weak man complains about where he is. A strong man focuses on where he's going. A weak man watches. A strong man works. If someone is ahead of you, good. That means you have proof that progress is possible. Instead of resenting them, study them. Learn what they did right. Learn what mistakes they avoided. And then move forward. If someone is behind you, help them or move forward. Looking down on others doesn't make you stronger. It makes you slow. It makes you complacent. It makes you think that because you're ahead of someone else, you've already won. But here's the truth. You're not competing against them. You're competing against who you were yesterday. If you help someone, do it because you choose to. If you move forward, do it because you refuse to stay the same. But if you waste time looking back, you'll lose sight of where you're going. No one ahead of you is looking at you. They're too busy moving. Learn from them. Keep going. And leave the ones who want to stay behind where they belong. In the past. If you focus on others, you'll never focus on yourself. A man who looks at another man's plate forgets to eat from his own. And that is why so many people fail. They focus on what others have, instead of improving what they have. They waste time envying, instead of building. They waste time gossiping, instead of learning. They waste time comparing, instead of competing with themselves. Comparison is a trap. It keeps you looking sideways, when you should be looking forward. It keeps you weak, when you should be getting stronger. It keeps you distracted, when you should be focused. The ones who win, they don't care about what's on another man's plate. They make sure their own is full. So ask yourself, are you watching or are you working? Because only one of those leads to victory. Step 2. Walk your own path. You were not born to follow someone else's blueprint. Your path is yours alone. But most people don't understand this. They copy. They watch what others are doing. They compare timelines. They measure their progress against someone else's standards. And in doing so, they lose control of their own life. A man who chases another man's path is not walking his own. Some start with more, some start with less. It doesn't matter. Life is not fair. Some people are born ahead. Some people are born behind. Some have advantages, connections, resources. Others start with nothing. But here's the truth. None of that determines the outcome. A weak man spends his life complaining about where he started. A strong man focuses on where he's going. A winner doesn't care if the game is fair. He plays to win anyway. The moment you stop thinking about what others have and start working with what you have, you take control. Some take years to succeed. Some take months. The timing is irrelevant. One man finds success early. Another struggles for years before he makes it. But in the end, the timing doesn't matter. Only the result does. A weak man rushes. He looks at someone ahead of him and gets impatient. A strong man understands that his time will come when it's meant to. A winner does not care if his journey is longer. He only cares that he finishes it. Stop looking at how fast others are moving. Stay on your own course. Some people take the long road. Some take a shortcut. But in the end, the only thing that matters is that you get where you were meant to go. Some are praised. Some are ignored. Respect is earned, not given. Some people will be recognized for their efforts early. Some will be ignored, overlooked, underestimated. But respect is not something you are given. It is something you take. The weak complain when they are not noticed. The strong work in silence. The weak expect praise. The strong expect results. The weak look for approval. The strong look for progress. If no one is watching, keep moving. If no one believes in you, keep going. The world does not reward those who wait for permission. It rewards those who prove they don't need it. A man who chases another man's life loses control of his own. If you're constantly looking at others, you are not leading your own life. You are reacting, following, adjusting to fit someone else's standards. And the moment you do that, you lose power. The most dangerous man in the room. The one who does not care what others are doing. He doesn't compare. He doesn't follow. He doesn't rush. He walks his own path. And because of that, he cannot be stopped. So stop chasing someone else's life. Build your own. Because at the end of the road, the only thing that matters is how far you've come, not how far someone else got. A smart man doesn't waste time thinking about others. He doesn't measure his progress against someone else's life. He doesn't look left or right to see how fast others are moving. He looks straight ahead, because the only competition that matters is the one against who you were yesterday. Most people chase someone else's success. They want to match another man's achievements, mirror his timeline, walk his exact path. And in doing so, they forget to build their own. They get lost in comparison instead of focusing on their own growth. A winner thinks differently. He doesn't care about their progress. He only cares about his own. If you are stronger today than yesterday, you're winning. Strength is not about lifting more weight or standing taller. Strength is about becoming unbreakable. The weak crumble under pressure. The strong hold their ground. The weak avoid discomfort. The strong walk straight into it. The weak give up when things get hard. The strong push forward. If today you can handle more than you could yesterday, you are already ahead. If today you are harder to shake, harder to stop, harder to control, you are already winning. Forget about how strong someone else is. Focus on becoming stronger than you were yesterday. If you are wiser today than yesterday, you're growing. A man who doesn't learn is a man who stays stuck. The world changes, the game evolves, and those who don't adapt get left behind. The weak repeat the same mistakes. The strong learn from them. The weak think they already know enough. The strong never stop learning. The weak fear failure. The strong see failure as a lesson. You don't need to be the smartest man in the room. You only need to be smarter than you were yesterday. Forget about what they know. Focus on what you are learning. If you are more disciplined today than yesterday, you're unstoppable. Most people only work hard when they feel motivated. That's why most people fail. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what stays. A weak man works when it's easy. A strong man works when it's hard. A weak man makes excuses. A strong man makes progress. A weak man quits when the path gets difficult. A strong man keeps going. If today you did what needed to be done, even when you didn't feel like it, you are already ahead. If today you made no excuses, only decisions, you are already winning. Forget about their habits. Focus on strengthening yours. Forget their timeline. Forget their path. Focus on your own. The game is not about how fast you get there. It's about how far you go. If you're stronger today than yesterday, you're moving forward. If you're wiser today than yesterday, you're growing. If you're more disciplined today than yesterday, you're unstoppable. Forget them. Focus on you. Because the only path that matters is the one you're walking.